We're on live?
Yeah.
Crud. Hey, everybody, and welcome to I'm tweeting. Wait, I'm not done tweeting. Hold on. Boom. I tweeted.
There we go.
All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to another live episode of The Grid.
Somebody calls me as soon as The Grid starts. Seriously?
Yeah, somebody called me, too. Who is it?
The second it starts. We should start the show, though.
Hey, look, though, this is the first time ever where my, Buccaneers stuff is matching my phone case.
Dude, I'll tell you what, we are off to a killer start of the show.
We are. This is an awesome show.
This is the best intro we've ever had.
Okay, the intro's bad, but we are going to have a killer show today because we have Gregory Heisler here with us today. And I would have to say he's one of the most celebrated and amazing portrait photographers in the world today. We have him here on the show, which is we're very excited about. Also, we have Matt Kloskowski, who is one of the most celebrated Lightroom teachers in the world.
Well, I don't even know what to say to that one.
I don't know, but it's true. Anyway, but we're very excited to have you here. I'm Scott Kelby. We have a great show. Hey, I want to just turn you on a couple of things. I did a tutorial, a free tutorial this week. If you're into this, I've been doing a lot of shooting automotive stuff, shooting cars and stuff, and under the tutelage of Tim Wallace's online classes, he got me hooked on this kind of stuff. And I did when I put up some shots. Thank you. When I put up some shots that I took in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago, I had some people saying, man, I'd love to see kind of what your workflow is and how you're retouching. So I did a video over, you can find it on my Facebook page, on Twitter, on G+, or on my blog on retouching cars. It's completely free, and I take you through my whole process. And it's not a very long video, but I really packed a lot in there. I did a lot of little stuff in there. So even if you don't retouch cars, I think you would appreciate some of the Photoshop stuff that you might enjoy. So any one of those places, my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/skelby. Skelby. Or Scott G+, on G+, just Scott, letter G+. My blog, scottkelby.com, whatever. Okay. Hey,
Photoshop World.
Photoshop World is coming up in 12 days. It is the world's largest Photoshop event. A couple of things that are neat. If you're a Canon photographer, Canon is going to be there on site doing full camera cleanings for you. So they'll just take in your DSLR, they clean it all up, they clean your sensor, they do everything. Big. It's huge. And they did, at the last Photoshop World, I think they did 600 cleanings. Wow. So anyway, we're very honored to have Canon there doing that for our Canon shooters. We still have a couple of spaces, not many, I went through them just a few minutes ago, in some of our pre-conference classes. So if you want to come to Photoshop World a day early, there's a couple of classes that still have some, none in yours, by the way, your Lightroom crash course, sold out, all done. Woo, woo.
Raise the roof.
Raise the roof. So that's sold out. So many of them are sold out, but there are a few. If you go to the Photoshop World website, you'll be able to see which ones are available. Let's see. Also, this is unrelated to Photoshop World, but we have a brand new class that is launching on KelbyOne on March 27th. It's called 3 Ways to Lighten Up Sports, or excuse me, 3 Ways to Light Up Sports Action Photography with Dave Black. And oh my gosh, Dave Black he's crazy.
Well, he teaches it like nobody else can, and he has such an interesting way because he did a lot of lighting classes for us a few years ago. So it's like these kind of, things have changed since he did those classes. Yep. So he kind of picks up where a lot of that left off. So great
He's amazing.
Stuff.
So anyway, so also besides this podcast that we do here at The Grid, we have 2 other podcasts I hope you know about. We do a tips podcast, photography tips called, you tell them.
We have a tips podcast called it's called Photography Tips and Tricks, PTNT. So, and then we've also got one on Photoshop. This is our very first podcast, Photoshop User TV. And I mean,
we've been doing that thing.
It's been like almost 9 years. It was our very, very first podcast. It used to be when podcasts were just audio. Scott, Dave Cross, and I used to sit in a room.
We did a thing called Photoshop Radio.
And we used to sit in a room and talk about Photoshop.
And it was a lot like this.
For 30 minutes.
Close your eyes. It was like this. So go to Photoshop, go into the File menu, choose Open.
Okay.
See that tool, the 4th tool down on the left?
I can't see it.
Yeah, that's what it was like right there.
My eyes are closed.
Anyway, but hey, we got some giveaways today too, real quick. I want to get right to, we got a lot to cover, so I want to get right to it.
Your Photoshop for Lightroom users.
That's it.
And professional portrait retouching techniques for photographers. And also, we're going to give away a
full conference pass
for Photoshop World. So if you can make it there in 12 days, we'll get you in for free.
AMZ has a note for me. I guess this is from the chat. Scott, lay off the scotch next time. I know. Can I tell you something? I've had a funky day. I had a meeting at 9:30 this morning in our conference room, and I sat in that conference room all day until I came here right now. It's been just one long meeting. You were in some of my meetings today.
I was in one of them.
Yeah.
I got out before lunch, though.
You did the right thing. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, joining us here live on the set, we're very honored to have Gregory Heisler. We're going to be doing blind portrait critiques today, blind photo critiques for portraits. And Matt will take us to the commercial right now.
Let's go to commercial right now.
Man, that was good.
I know.
It's really good.
I can't wait to do this again.
Hey everybody, Scott Kelby here with Matt Kloskowski, and our very special guest has joined us here on the set, Mr. Gregory Heisler.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going awesome.
You're here.
Can I tell you something? Your book, it's the book of the year.
It's one of my favorites.
I just went and looked at your book, 50 Portraits. I just looked at it on Amazon. It has 131 reviews and an average 5-star.
I have a big family.
Do you know? No, seriously,
That's unheard
you do
of.
not know how hard it is to have more than 3 or 4 reviews and maintain a 5-star. That means that everybody just loved it. And you know why? Everybody loves that book. It is absolutely amazing. If you don't have it, this is the kind of book that you're going to buy for yourself, you're going to buy for somebody else, because it is. I mean, it clearly is book of the year. I know that it's sold a bazillion copies because it wasn't published by my publishing company, the ones that publish our books and all. And so we hear about it all the time. But can I tell you what? There's not a nicer guy on the planet that deserves it. Dude, you killed it on that book.
Thank you so much. It's really, I'm super proud of it. It's the first time I've ever done anything like that. It is in its second printing already.
Wow.
Both copies sold the first time.
You're not helping me here. You're not helping me. Anyway, seriously though, it's an amazing book. Maybe we can bring up the cover a little later. I put it on my Facebook and stuff today, but maybe a little later in the show we can just swing by Amazon so we can show just a cover.
And just to kind of let people know what's in the works, so we had Greg in today doing an interview. So if you're a KelbyOne subscriber, if you've ever seen the website, we have a series of creative and inspirational and sometimes business-like interviews. So Greg did one of those series of interviews with me and McCormick today.
It was more perspirational. Actually,
no, you know what, man? I came by just to kind of, like, I went to the control room where I could see without coming in here to interrupt, and I thought I was just going to stop in and look, and 25 minutes later, I was still standing there just, damn, this is good. So great job. I can't wait till it comes out.
Thank you, thank you. It was fun. She's amazing. She's super perceptive. Isn't she? Yeah, she made it really easy, and her questions were great. They were great. They were. It was really cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, Greg, we have to get to work because you are here. You are not here. You're really here to work. And so for those of you who watch the show on a regular basis, you know about our blind photo critiques. For those of you who are watching for the first time today, just want to mention, so here's what we do. We've asked people this morning to submit portrait images, for Greg to critique. We're going to go through them on screen, and our basic rule is this: we're honest. And by we, I mean Greg. Matt and I are gonna. Well, we're kind of here to keep things moving, but we're here for Greg. But here's the thing: if no one's really going to tell you if a photo is really bad or not. Your spouse isn't going to say, "Honey, you need to sell your gear." Your coworkers, your family, no one's really going to tell you the truth about your photography. And if you go to Flickr or any place and post it online, then you will think, oh my gosh, you're the next Ansel Adams. Because you can take a picture of your camera coming out of your bag, it accidentally fired, and people will tell you, you're inspirational. So what we're going to do today is we're not here to be mean, but we're going to tell it like it is.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the first critique right here. I'm going to take you through the 5 images, Greg, and we'll just, I'll go through the 5, we'll go back to the beginning and just give us your thoughts. So here's, here's the first one.
Okay. Yep. 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 Yep.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning here.
And these are all by the same person,
All
right?
by the same person,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
They can give 3 to 5 images, so.
Cool. Well, I like this a bunch. I think the lighting's really strong on it. I think it's really nice. I think this just rides the line between having kind of a blank expression, which is like Peter Hurley's bane. He hates that.
Right.
He,
Yeah,
he wants to see the lights on and somebody home. And I think you do. I think you get something like that. He feels like he's in the middle of almost speaking to you. And I like it. I do. I like it. I think it's strong. I think it's nice.
You know what I like? I like the post-processing.
Yeah.
Got some nice posts, like a little cross-processing going, but a little bit. I like it.
Overall, I would even say you kind of they're all very different photos, but you kind of all know they're from the same photographer.
Mm-hmm.
They have a similar feel to them.
And similar post.
This one's good. It feels kind of like a band shot, and band shots always feel like band shots. It may not be. These could be the board of directors of another company, but it feels like a band shot, and they're just kind of there. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's also nothing sort of special enough about it. What I do like is that each guy has his own pose, his own spot, his own little space, and is occupying it in a different way. A lot of times people shoot groups and they're like birds on a wire, you know, kind of like all like lined up.
I like that, birds on a wire.
And I feel like this is not that, which is nice.
Yeah.
This one, it's a pet peeve. I hate this kind of pose. It feels like Excedrin headache number 3942, and it just bugs me. I don't know why. Again, I think the light's quite nice, polished. It looks like it has a good post effect to it, I think. But it's just, I look at it and it's like I don't buy that the person was actually doing that, and it's a funny thing to have somebody do.
It looks like a pose.
Yeah, it looks like a funny pose. Whereas that feels more authentic. I feel like what I'm looking at is an awful lot of carpet, and I wish that the emphasis were more on the person. Like I would have flagged off the carpet or done something, or perhaps put a little filter over it to kind of darken it down. Something, I would say, about, like, see how much of a difference that makes?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're looking at the person and you're not looking at the rug, and it makes all the difference. So that's a huge thing for me, and I think a big thing that people talk about is it's equally important what you don't light as what you do light. And I think the key to lighting is being very selective. And I think that was what you just showed them was a perfect example of a way to deal with that.
Yeah, because look at the difference.
Yeah.
Really draws your eye.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about it is, while I like this guy's post-processing of guy's skin, this is way over-processed. Okay. There's not a pore on her face.
Right.
As far as the retouching goes, it's very, very heavy-handed, where the guys looked good.
Right. It's definitely a line that you have to be careful not to cross. If I can just say this one thing that I think photographers have to be really careful about is photographers, by the nature of being photographers, tend to have a little anal streak. That sounds messy, doesn't it? I saw a specialist and got rid of mine.
Oh.
But people can have an anal streak.
If there's any children watching, hide them. Turn them away from the...
But I feel like what happens is photographers...
Tweet that. Quote of the week, Gregory Heisler.
Anal streak.
Anal streak. There was a little bit of an anal. Photographers have a little bit of an anal streak. There you go.
Sounds painful.
Sounds painful.
So Depends takes care of it, though.
It does.
And you're good. But I think what happens is that they can tend to get a little too, given the opportunity to make something perfect, they try to make it too perfect. And I think sometimes they can squeeze all the air out of the picture, and take something that was actually nice and had a little bit of heart to it, and it makes it look completely artificial, and all of a sudden you don't buy into it anymore. So I think sometimes it's great for photographers to just like take their foot off the gas just a little bit, or go away and have they don't want to smoke, but go away and have a sandwich or something, and come back and then look at it fresh before they get too carried away.
Doggone. You know what? That is one of the best. That's one of the best explanations of that phenomenon, which does exist in such a way. Seriously, I'm not just saying that because I just said something crazy about the anal thing, but seriously, that is. And you know what? When I talked about this in my portrait retouching book, which just happens to be right here, I'm not going to plug it or anything, but it's available from Amazon.com. Hey. Anyway, no, but I talk about that because what happens is you start to lose when you're working on an image. And you just keep looking at it and looking at it, you don't realize how far you're going. Right. You do have to step away, do something else, come back, and you're like, oh my God, what was I doing? Yeah. You know. But that way you describe it, where it took the soul away from it, that was.
Like the operation was.
I got to get just that clip from this show and just put it on YouTube. Just that, no, I'm not kidding. That little clip, that for me was worth coming on the show today, just to hear that. And no, you've got your work's not done here, but you have earned your keep. Okay. All right, and here's his last image here. Pretty good post on the face.
Again, I like this. I feel like the standing against a wall picture is something I see a lot of, but I feel like this has an edginess to it that makes it successful. Again, for me, it's kind of like the rug, except here the rug's lying on its side. And I feel like the brightest part of the picture, apart from that guy's face, is the right third of the picture, which if it were darker, I think would make the picture a lot better. Again, I don't mean to be fussy about this, but I think it's a big deal. I really do. I think, like, let's take that down some, and I think it'll just be, I mean, look at that. I just think it's cooler. That's all.
Let me just...
It becomes more about the subject and less about the wall. The wall's still there, still giving you texture, but it's not screaming at you.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
All righty, let's take a look at
We're off to a good start.
Yeah, we're off to a good start.
For sure, yeah.
Here we go, 5 images.
Right. Cool. Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right.
Well, I think they look nice. What a terrible thing to say. I think they look nice. Like, how useless was that? Was that, okay, I'm done.
Look nice.
That's it. They're very nice. They won't harm you in any way. I don't like the arrow sitting right above this poor woman's head. It looks like if it were an inch lower, it'd be like the old, arrow through the head thing. So I don't like that. And it just feels posy and funny. The color sense is really nice. Love that. Love the color of the bicycle, the colors in the dress. I think that's real cool, the peachy tones and the aqua tones. My new band, the Aquatones, by the way.
The Aquatones, that's a great name for a band.
So that's nice. I just don't, again, for me, the posiness is what makes it really hard. I'm just not nuts about the posy quality to it. There are a million ways to be there other than that. So that's, I think taking the sign away is like a humongous help.
Oops, I brought too much of the sign back there, sorry.
Yep. But I think that helps a lot. Again, it's just the posy thing I have a hard time with.
Yeah.
For me.
All right, so let's go back to
the colors are well wrangled, though, and I think having control over your palette is a really important thing. And this person clearly has control over their palette. You saw it in the last one, and you see it in this one, right? This person's very conscious of what colors are in the image and is very careful about how they handle it. This one, obviously leading lines, working really well, the perspective. The background feels busy because what the lines lead you to is a big jumble back there.
Yeah.
So the good news is it's really drawing you in, but then when you want the payoff, it's killing you. So again, what you like and what you don't like. If it were me, I'd take the entire background down so that the lines lead me to the little ballerina, and that's the payoff.
So when you're saying down, you want the, let me get rid of this stuff here.
Just everything behind, everything
behind
but her.
Oh yeah,
everything
kind of just
but her.
spilled over a bit there because I have my auto mask turned off. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. So we leave her better lit, and I can pull back.
And I'd even take down some
highlights.
of the, again, like the other things, some of the foreground wall feels a little bright.
I might have gone a little too heavy-handed on that.
But it gives you the idea. Where like all of a sudden the lines are working with you, but it leads you to a payoff, and she's the payoff. So if we did that but just took it to like 50% of that or something, then you'd be cooking with gas, I think. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, you can really see the difference.
Again, It's personal preference, but that to me works a little better.
But you know what? Today is about your personal preference.
Well, gall darn it.
See if I can make her any bigger. All right, there we go. A little bit bigger.
I think the other two pictures are more special. I think this one is like a garden variety, perfectly nice portrait, but it's not adding anything to the party.
There's also a white balance issue in that when they came inside to take this shot, her hair is blue. There's a blue tint in her hair. So if you were to go and add some yellow in there, it will look at now her hair is black. There you go. You got rid of the blue tint. Look.
Yeah.
And when you see the before and after, I think it'll be apparent how blue it was.
That's
all right,
wow.
so
That's
watch
amazing.
the difference. Look how blue her hair was.
Wow. Now that's a big difference.
She, all lighting and everything aside, which looks fine. She has that. I'm very uncomfortable right now. In front of the camera. She's got that. She's got that smile that says, "I'm smiling, but I really don't want to be here right now."
Yeah.
Not loving it. Now, can I just go back to that one more time?
Oh,
the other
absolutely,
thing,
of course.
Again, it's a lighting thing. I feel like her chest and neck are as bright as her face, and her arms are down a little bit, which is good. And I'd bring her chest and neck down just a smidge, and then all of a sudden her face, just that. That helps for me a little bit. It's a little thing, but it makes a difference, I think. This is one of those things that rides a line, because on the one hand, the fact that his hands are there and he's holding glasses or whatever he's holding gives it interest, and it gives him a reason to be like that and his kind of determined expression. On the other hand, hands are a little distracting, they're a little bright. So again, could the hands come down a teensy bit? Maybe. It doesn't super bother me that they're there, because again, I think it's kind of part of what the picture's about. I don't super love the white line, the banquette,
right
whatever
there.
he's sitting in. Not super loving that. Like, I would almost be tempted to crop this picture as a square, because I don't think those two right and left sides are buying me much in that case.
Yeah.
Or even as vertical. I don't think those are adding a lot to the party.
Let's crop it square.
See if it'll work. Yep, like I'd be down with that.
Yeah, it looks much better.
Yeah, I'd be
much
down
better.
with that. Something like that, I think would be good.
Great.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
You should write a book.
Dang. Just call cropping. Why? I think that's good. So this is cool. It's again the posy thing. I just feel like it's the standard. Like, you never shoot guys standing like that, but people always shoot women in that pose, and it seems funny to me. She looks like she's just posing to get her picture taken. There's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like it's not. I don't like the wrinkly backdrop with her wrinkly pants. It's the weakest shot.
Oh, if you had to give this photographer advice overall, what would you think it might be?
I think your heart lies where those first couple of pictures where the color is doing a cool thing.
Yeah.
And working with, I think that's actually really quite nice. And I would say practice shooting women so that they're more comfortable. The three women in these pictures, the four women, the three women in these pictures, the upper left, the bottom, and the upper right, they're all uncomfortable. And whereas the guy's kind of really with you.
Yeah.
And the ballerina's too small to tell.
You know what else, Gregory? If I were to hire this photographer, which one would show up to my shoot?
That's such an excellent point. It's a big thing I talk to my students about, because it's, again, if this person's working professionally, it's exactly the thing that makes clients nervous. Because, like, am I going to get good Greg or evil Greg?
Am I going to get this look?
Right.
Which is a very defined look?
Yep.
Or am I going to wind up with this one, which is like a senior headshot?
Yep. And I think what a photographer needs to do, and again, we're just seeing a few pictures, is decide where their heart is and actually get more depth on their bench in that area.
Yeah.
Like if the picture of the guy leaning on his hand, not that you should have 50 pictures of people leaning on their hands, but if that's kind of like, boy, I love that kind of picture, do more of them so that it's not like the lone wolf there.
Very good. Number 3, let's take a look at what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I don't have to count them out loud, do I?
Ally helps.
And we'll start here.
So
I know
what
what
does
you're
she have
thinking.
below her eye? I just can't tell what it is.
It looks like a tattoo or a graphic added afterwards, probably, and it looks like a graphic maybe added later in Photoshop.
I'm just confused by
At
it.
a distance, it looks like
Yeah,
acne.
but
When you zoom in, I can see
Oh, it's a design. I see.
yeah. That looks like it's actually, now I could be wrong, it looks like this was made in Photoshop using some of the built-in shapes.
Little
okay.
flourishes.
Right? Little flourishes, right? And then they connected them together, and then it's been faded. It's been used warp to fit the eye. I don't believe that's really on her. But you know what? That doesn't bother me nearly as much as what's going on with the ring light in her eye.
Right.
You know, I know that there are photographers who love a ring light.
Catch light as a thing.
Yeah.
Or just the effect.
Well, they like the catch light as a ring. I mean, as an effect. They think, oh, I love that. But this is the most, I don't know what the word for it is, distracting ring light I've ever seen. Usually a ring light's kind of cool.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. It's probably because it exactly fits the diameter of her pupil.
That maybe was
So
what it is.
that's the freaky thing.
It's freaky looking though, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think the color of her lips and the color of the, like, rouge on her cheeks and the color of that design are really doing a funky thing together.
Yeah.
And that's funny. I mean, quite honestly, as just a nice portrait, it would be a nice portrait. I think the little tattooy design thing really throws it for a loop. This one I don't like. I think it's just a cheesy picture.
And she looks distorted.
Yeah.
She looks a little like maybe they
Short lens.
They used a short lens, and her facial features look a little distorted.
Yeah. This just looks like a snapshot. Doesn't fit with the rest. This is cool, but it's really because the guy's cool. I don't know the photographer's bringing... Like, if you look at this one and the last one, is the picture that much better, or is the guy that much better? And the fact that it's black and white.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure.
You know what
cool.
else? It's very, very common to see the top of someone's head cut off. It is very... It's weird to see their chin cut off.
Yep.
And the top of the head, absolutely all day long, but that's just a weird look.
Yeah. It's like he just got cropped too much. I thought that was a really interesting picture. What I like about it, I like pictures that I would never in a million years shoot. I would never, given 100,000 portraits to shoot, I would never shoot somebody like that. But I think it's interesting. I got to be honest with you. I think it's interesting. I think it's weird. The croppage is weird. The angle is weird. His expression is weird. The light's kind of intriguing. I like it. I have to say it's a little bit of a disturbing picture, but I think it's interesting.
We don't need to see those nose hairs, do we?
That was my favorite part.
That's all I see when I look at this thing is his nose hairs.
Right. That's great. Yeah. I have to say it's an interesting picture. It's not a picture I would normally pick out of a crowd. I think it's pretty cool.
So what are we telling this? If we had to give this photographer one bit of advice?
I would say don't do what you think you're supposed to do. Just do the pictures that you really like. Like, I feel like some of these pictures are like, I want to shoot a picture like this one. I feel like that last picture that I like came from the heart, and I don't think it was a picture that looks like a picture he saw in a magazine or a picture he saw or she saw.
Yeah, and then it looks nothing like the other picture.
At all. So that's my favorite would be, my advice would be, go follow this as a little thread. That's what I think. I know it's kind of weird, but that's what I would say.
Great. Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got a lot more images, more Greg Heisler. Stick around. We're live right here on the grid. Don't go away.
Whether you love to read ebooks on your iPad, consider your Kindle your best friend, or addicted to your Nook, Peach Pit ebooks are for you. When you purchase your ebooks from Peach Pit, you get 3 formats. That means you can easily read them on any device of your choice. Or if you're in the mood to read on your computer, we supply you with the PDF. Head on over to Peach Pit today to get an ebook for 40% off.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kloskowski as always, and our very special in-studio guest, Gregory Heisler. You know, Brad wrote that. That your comment up there on the screen? Brad wrote a comment that is so true and so amazing. Brad wrote, one of the good things about Greg's opinion is that, and he's saying, you have to read how he said it. He's saying, is that it has more covers of Time magazine behind it than any other photographer out there. And just Brad wrote it in a Brad way. But
English is a second language.
English is a second language to him. But no, but I think the point is very well taken. you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
you keep saying it's just my opinion, but
Yeah.
your opinion holds a lot of weight around here. Let's take a look. Let's look at these images. And I'm going to have to I'm going to actually open all these in Camera Raw because they look a little small. They'll be bigger here. There we go.
Wow.
All right, there we have one.
I'm done. Nice. 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 Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all over this person. I feel like what's really refreshing to see is a lot of people rely on long lenses because frankly, they're easier. It's like juggling one ball. And when you shoot with shorter lenses and include more of the environment, you have more things to juggle. There's more balls in the air. And you have to make sure the person's okay, you have to make sure your lighting's okay, you have to make sure the background's not distracting, you have to make sure the props are in the row. There's like a million things to do. And I feel like this person handled it really well. This particular picture is a perfect example of using the light as a tour guide. Let the light show you what you want to see, what you want the viewer to see, right? Like this could be sloppy lighting all over the place. This is like very selective, very beautiful, I think. Really well done. It's exquisite, like a painting in a good way.
It does. It does have that painting quality to it, but without having an effect that makes it look like a painting.
Yeah.
The lighting looks like
it's
a
just
painting.
beautifully handled, I think. And I think this is really a strong portrait. I'm not super loving seeing off the edge of the fabric in the background. I get that that's intentional. I just, it pulls me off of the guy, that's all. And I think it's, you know, I feel like that's stronger. Again, I get that it could be a cool thing to do it that way. It just wouldn't be my choice. Again, this one's not. Here's the deal. This is exactly what you're talking about, Scott, I think. This is also a really nice environmental portrait, but the lighting is nowhere near as subtle, and it feels processed. A little bit post-processed, don't know if it is, but it feels like it. That's the kind of thing that would make somebody nervous. Like, am I going to get the painterly picture like I saw the first one?
Yeah.
Or am I going to get this one? They're both nice, for sure. But to me, the first one is kind of exquisite in a way, and this one is less so, but it sort of suits its subject as well. That's nice. It's not as strong as the first one is, again, from a lighting standpoint. And that's nice, but the woman's posing. I hate women posing.
She's posing in ABC carpet.
So you know what's interesting is I like the second portrait that we saw. So all four of his are really strong environments.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's it's like I want to see what that guy's in. Like, what is he doing?
Yep. Yep. No, I agree with you. And I feel like, again, I see why this is a cool picture for sure. But I think that my advice to this person would be, in your portfolio, if you're showing a portfolio around, really keep working on your environmental stuff. It's very strong. You handle environments really well. And I think people who do that well are few and far between. And you should actually make a strong case for it and just keep developing that and just pay real close attention to your light, because when you're on the ball, you're on it.
And coming from Greg, that is quite a,
so.
you just got an incredible compliment. Hats off to you. So here we go.
Yep.
What a cute baby. Sorry.
I'm adopting the last one. That was adorable.
Yeah.
Is this the first one? Here's the first one right here.
Yep.
Let me open these up. These are a little small as well, so we're going to open up in Camera Raw and make them a little bigger. There we go. This is our first
So it's, I have a hard time reading her expression, just because the background is bright and she and the child are very much in the shade. I feel like the whole picture needs to open up more. There you go. Hey, this Photoshop stuff's darn good.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Man, oh man.
But she also doesn't look. It's almost like she was trying.
Grimacing or something.
She was trying to get the baby to sit up, and then she looked up at the camera like, "Oh man, this isn't going
Ain't
the way
working.
I'd hope."
This
Click.
ain't working, yeah. No, I think that's a good call.
Yeah, the baby doesn't look happy, and she looks like, oh, God, let's just get this done. She's going to start crying in a minute.
Yeah.
It's like 2/3 of a good picture.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't quite make it. This is perfectly nice, and it's... The one thing I would say is I wish that this person's pictures were more personal, that their point of view came through a little stronger. they're all nice pictures, but I'd love to see this person kind of let their own personality come out a little bit more. You know, they're not, do you know what I mean? They're sort of, they feel they're good versions of a picture that lots of people could take. They're not pictures that only you could take. And I think it's nice if you can shoot pictures that only you would take. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, I feel like that's, it's better for your individuality to come out. And I think these are really nice for the most part, but they're just not.
It's also hard to pull off a kid not happy photo.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't. Not, you know, like adults it's different. You know, there's fashion, there's a lot of different things to pull off a serious photo. But for kids, it's hard to pull off between she's just emotionless.
Yep.
Or, you know what I mean? Or thoughtful. Like, you've seen little pictures of kids not smiling, but they're thoughtful.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have that look to it.
No, this is like,
this has
who
that
is this
kid
person?
is like, yeah, who's a stranger is taking a picture of me.
Right. Yep. No, I agree with you. This is nice, but it just feels too far away. Like we're not getting, we're seeing some background, but it's not really paying off. It's not really adding anything. This could be cropped down just fine.
Yeah, the eyes were dead center.
Yep. Like, that helps. That helps a lot. But even so, it feels not strong enough. It wants to be, like, I would even crop that more. Not that it's a cropping exercise, but I feel like I'd cut off the top of her head. I'd bring it, you know. Like,
sorry, Ben, that's a stupid crop, sorry. Got a little carried away there, Greg.
But something like that, all of a sudden it's like, I'm with her, I'm in it, the background just adds a little bit, but I'm really in there with her.
You know what, this might make a nice horizontal, actually.
Yeah, it could.
And then you can make it a little more intimate.
Yep. Yep. I mean, you could take it a lot of ways. I think being selective with your cropping is really important, for sure. This one's a funny expression. I'm not in love with it. I feel like the camera's Dutch, the camera's tipped kind of gratuitously. I don't think it buys you much, and I think the expression's a funny expression. That's adorable.
That's
my favorite from the whole
baby.
bunch. It's just, it's a real moment. It's a great little expression. I love how this baby's just exceptionally cute. And again, the use of selective focus is really nice, and the light's nice.
Hey, we have a comment from one of our viewers, Mike Yurch, I think it is, Y-U-R-C-H-E. Mike asks, and he's asking this to you, we're all taught about posing, especially women. I think he means especially with women. Well, why are you saying posing is a bad thing? Because I don't think you're saying posing is a bad thing.
It's because I'm a horrible person. Evil, horrible person.
No, but I don't think you're saying that posing is a bad thing.
No, I'm not.
I think you were very, like, they look posed. Posing is great when it looks natural.
Yeah.
But,
I think what it is if you can think of posing as gesture, you're better off. If you think of posing as a pose, then it's too posed. And that's kind of what, like, people sit, like I can sit like this, and that's just like a natural gesture of mine. If I sit like once I start posing myself, then all of a sudden I'm posed, and it's different. So models can get away with posing a little bit more, but it tends to look very catalog, I think. And the stuff that tends to be more, unless it's very exaggerated, which is another kind of fashion look. But I think that if you can observe people and pay attention to the gestures that they give you naturally and then build on those gestures, you'll end up with poses that don't look like poses. I think that's better.
no, that's great.
Yep.
All right, if you had any suggestions to give to this photographer, what would your...
I guess my feeling would be a couple things. I think that just as in your development as a photographer, try to juggle more balls, because these are all very simple pictures. That would just be a nice thing. I think you have a sensitivity for people that's nice, and you have generally a pretty good feeling for light that's nice and simple. I think be just a little bit harder judge on yourself. That's all. Like, don't be satisfied with, well, that's pretty okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is you really never said anything about the lighting in any of those photos, except for the last one that you liked. But you never said the lighting's bad. I mean, everything was the person or the expression inside of there, or the pose.
Yep.
Now, Greg, I'd like to get to some. We have 20 minutes left in the show, and I'd like to see if we can get through more images, because I know that a lot of people are going, Oh my gosh, that's Gregory Heisler. I hope he gets to my photos. So I'm just going to pick up the pace a little bit as far as here we go. So
I'll just do vowels and no consonants, like.
yeah, we've only done 5 so far. So here we go. Let's take a quick look here.
Good. Bad.
We don't have to go quite that fast. Good, bad.
Okay. Nice. Stinky.
Stinky. Okay, let's go back to the. Here we go. Let's start from here.
Are we done yet?
No. We can spend a little more time.
I think this is an intriguing picture. I have to say, I think it's cool.
What
I love is the little
too.
boy is giving you $1 million look. I think it's just real cool. Real cool.
Yeah, and it's hard to find. It's hard to do infant pictures like that with multiple people. And
Nah, it's a juggling act.
You know what I
Yeah.
like? I like the dad's.
Yeah.
I like the way the dad is
Yes.
looking over the baby, and it just I think it's a very
I like
touching.
that picture.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Lots of good stuff going on there.
This one's kind of, I don't love so much because it's more about the camera. That's lovely.
Yeah.
I think
like
it's the
that.
color sense. It feels a little processed to me, post-processed, more than maybe is necessary, but it's a lovely picture with a lovely sense of color. It's wacky in a contrived way, which makes me not like it as much. That's okay, but it looks like a picture Uncle Harry could have shot.
All right. What would you tell this photographer if you had a?
Your first picture and your third picture are your beacons. Build on those.
Just submit those next time.
Hey,
Yeah, no, I build
no,
on those.
I like that. Those are your beacons. Build on those. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Great advice.
Yep.
All right, here we go. And I'm going to open these. They're a little small. Let's open them in.
Okey-dokey.
Here we go.
Well, these are quite nice. This is quite a sophisticated photographer, I think.
Oops.
I'd love to see him even bigger, just because I think there's a lot to look at in these images. This one's a little hard for me to, here, let me look at it on your computer. Yep. I mean, this photographer is using lighting fairly successfully, I think, and combining it with the ambient light in a way that's kind of dramatic and interesting. And it gives the people a real presence that I think is quite nice. That's just a lovely color sense, I think. I love what's going on. The amber and the blue on the guy and the amber and the blue in the background is just really pleasing. That's a lovely, very graceful, dramatic portrait. Light's beautiful. That feels posy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't buy that she was ever sitting there without somebody telling her to do it.
Go out to a rock and sit
Yeah,
there.
just do me a favor and sit there and wait for a photographer. That's okay. I don't love that her leg disappears. It's kind of the ambient strobe thing.
You know, is it just me, Greg, or does it look like that's about 1/13 of a second at f8?
I would have pegged it an eighth, but you have you have the advantage.
I'm calling ISO 400 on it, too.
I'm
Right.
thinking definitely about 23 millimeter, you think?
Yeah, it feels lensy. 25, 28 would have been okay, but 23 is a
It
little.
feels
lensy.
lensy.
Yeah.
There's another quote. Here we go. Just 4 here.
Right. 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 Right.
That's it. Just 4.
Okay. I think that they're perfectly nice portraits. I don't think they're exceptional because I think there needs to be more going on. And I don't think that people are giving you a lot. Peter Hurley talks about that a lot. I think the last lady is giving you the most in terms of expression and feedback. Like she's got a little something going on there. But I don't like the light on her. I feel like a reflector was used too aggressively on the left side.
Yeah.
And it killed what was going on that was nice about the light on the right.
She almost looks a little uplit,
Yeah.
which is not very
Yeah.
flattering.
Well, that's an interesting thing, if I can just mention it. People almost always use reflectors down low, bouncing up, but you'd never put a softbox down low, shooting up. I mean, not often. And I think people use reflectors, and they should actually be up, going this way, and they're often used a lot more successfully.
That's in my book, by the way.
Is it?
Yes. One of my
Well,
books.
there you go. There you go.
Well, from that same thing, but I learned that from Monty Zucker years ago.
Right.
And Monty was like, he said the same thing. Why are people putting it down here? This is not, you know.
It's not where the light comes from, yeah.
Are the eyes really bright?
Yeah, you know what it is? There's not much contrast in the eyes. I think we would.
Is it just
that would be one thing.
overpost, do you think?
Yeah,
or?
it's overpost, but it needs some
Uber
serious,
post?
Uber.
Uber
needs
post?
some contrast in there. But it needs also. They're a little just.
Little funny.
And I mean, I just made a little adjustment, but yeah, they're when it gets that bright, it loses contrast, and
Right.
but there may be other issues there.
Yep.
What about this one?
Doesn't have enough information to be satisfying. I find a picture like that to be unsatisfying. Like your eye is there and you want your eye to be able to sink its teeth into something a little bit more. And there's too much that just falls away.
And it's kind of, his hair's cut off.
Yeah. I'm all up for dramatic light and dramatic stuff, but it's just...
So what do we say to this photographer? If we had to give, like, here's what you need to work on next would be...
Your most interesting picture is the picture of the guy, but I think you're sensitive to pretty light on the women. I think that's nice. And I think what you want to spend your time doing is actually talking to your subjects and getting a response from them. All right. So,
Fultz.
First one's my favorite.
Yep.
The guy, it's not just because he's a great character, and he is. I love the hint that he's in this clothing store, or that's his closet, or whatever it is. I love that little hint of environment. It's just kind of nice. I think the light's good. I think the very selective color use, that's a post thing, I'm assuming, that's kind of nice. It's subtly done and nice.
Yeah, I think it's just desaturated. I think he just desaturated the whole image.
And the guy's giving you a good look. It's not blank. He's really with you. This one feels more blanker to me. It doesn't feel as, like the first picture has so much more going on. This one has like a third the enjoyment.
More blanker.
Yeah. Más blancor. This one's, I sort of don't get it much. You know what I mean? And this one should be out.
There you go. Yeah, it's completely out of character with the other ones.
Yeah, it's just not giving you anything. Take more pictures like number one.
Yeah.
Number one's where you're at.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have some more images to look at with Gregory Heisler. We're live right here on the grid. Don't go away.
Hey guys, I'm Bill Fortney, and welcome to Old Car City. This is a really neat place to come to make photographs. We're going to learn field techniques for photographing Americana subjects like old cars and trucks, graphics, color, rust. Please join us in the upcoming class on Kelby training, Bill Fortney in the field at Old Car City.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kloskowski.
Hola.
Who has got one word in Spanish, and Gregory Heisler, and we're having a terrific show. It is, if you just joined us, it's if you were watching the football game and switched over to our channel, we're doing blind photo critiques, and this has been incredibly insightful. Seriously, I'm just, this is going to be one of those shows that gets watched a bazillion times. Hey, a couple of things real quick. I just want to mention that I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to Minneapolis, where it was 12 degrees on Monday.
Ooh,
and I'm teaching a seminar there Friday. If you want to come out and catch the seminar, you can. Just go to, where would they go to?
KelbyOne.com.
KelbyOne.com/live. And so, and also then I'll be in Salt Lake City on April 14th. So Friday in Minneapolis, Salt Lake City on April 14th. Matt, you're going to Indianapolis on April 2nd.
Yeah. So
with your Lightroom
Monday,
tour.
This coming Monday, I'll be in Indianapolis, and then Wednesday in Columbus.
All right, sweet. Hey, can we? We have a deal from our sponsor. So Peach Pit Press is very always kind to offer 40% off on an ebook deal. This is just for our viewers, and this one is called Picture Perfect Posing, as luck would have it. Practicing the art of posing for photographers and models. So you get 40% off. So the book normally sells for $49.95. You can get it for $29.95 by just going to peachpit.com/KelbyOne, I believe. And then you're going to use the actual code is also KelbyOne, and you get 40% off. So thanks to Peach Pit. One last thing, while we're talking about books, do we mind? Do we have a picture of Greg's cover of his book that we can show. We were going to show that earlier, and there it is. There it is, right there. Gregory, and now we had somebody that asked a question. Look at that. See, when you see that, you go, oh, yeah. That's, wow. That's. I mean, I've seen this. I have it. It's actually right. It's on my desk at home.
That's right.
And yeah, and I use it to keep papers from flying away.
That's good.
No, dude, that's a terrific book.
Because it's a heavy book.
It is a heavy book, but I love it. So somebody asked a question about that. They're asking, was it a natural moment? Was it a posed moment? What was it?
It's actually one of my favorite kind of pictures in that it's a completely natural moment within a setup situation. So in that case, I invited the guy over. He was sitting next to me on the front stoop of his house. My assistant brought a little light in, a little battery-powered light. So that's all kind of a constructed, artificial little thing. But then he actually was covering his mouth because he had an infected lip. That's actually why his hand is up like that. But he was Muhammad Ali's masseur. So his hands are actually critically important in that picture. So the interesting thing was he kept putting his hands up, and I thought, oh, my God, this is going to be terrible. And then I looked in camera, and I thought, oh my God, look at those hands. And so then I just made a few frames of it, and that was just his natural gesture within that setting.
Beautiful, beautifully done.
Thanks, yeah.
And you can find his book at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, wherever really kick-ass books are sold. Look for Gregory's book there. So congratulations on that book too.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, I mean, I know I'm gushing about it, but it's one of the best books I've seen in many, many years.
Thank you.
Another question, Scott King, who we know. Hi, Scott. Asks, well, who would you consider some of the best contemporary photographers? This I would love to hear this. This is
apart from Matt and Scott.
You don't count us because we're.
Man, I like this guy.
I do. Okay. I love. Well, you have to be on every week. No, all joking aside, sir.
Right. There are a lot of people whose work I look at. And very few that I like. No, I look at a lot of people's work. The best part about being a photographer is you can be snide, petty, and evil.
That's great. That's why we do this show.
Any chance I get. I mean, there are a lot of people's work I like. I like Dan Winters, as I think a brilliant photographer, is doing really good stuff. I think there's a guy who's new in this country, but he's been shooting for years, a guy named Marco Grob, is doing very interesting portraits. I think Frank Ockenfels is somebody who's always done very interesting stuff. And then there are the guys who are my legends, like Jay Mazel's the legend, Mary Ellen Mark is a legend. There are people who are just really terrific photographers who've been shooting for years who I just really, really enjoy. Generally, my most favorite photographers are dead.
Of course.
Not because they're not.
How about your most favorite baseball players?
I live in a sports vacuum.
Oh.
I photograph lots of athletes, but they're just like interesting specimens. Actually, like an anthropologist or something. It's like, oh, that's a basketball. Right? It's big, it's round. I see. Yes.
Do you have one of those things?
What do you do with it?
We'd look good in this picture if you had one of those round things with the lines on it. Basketball.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's
basketball.
it. Basketball.
All right, so a great answer on those. Let's take a look at our next. We're going to get through a couple more here real quick. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but here we go. Let's look at the first. There's 5 images.
Nice. So let's go through. These are good to do. So I would say let's talk about posing, because this is interesting to me. To me, this first person's posing, but it looks cool. The last picture's a pose, and it looks cool. I think it's cool looking. It's definitely a pose, but she's actually occupying that space in a way that, like she's obviously posing for the picture, but it works. It just works better.
I love the post-processing. Yeah. And what's weird is I like the post here, and I like the post in the first one. That looks like the same photographer took this and took this. Which photographer took this shot?
He was sick that day.
Or this one?
That's just like, okay, no big deal. Not memorable.
It's really interesting you say that about the pose, because, like I said, that last photo there, I mean, obviously very posed.
But
I like it, but all the photos you were pointing out before, it was just they looked. I can't even say they look posed, because that looks posed too, but there's just something different about it.
The other ones feel contrived and forced. This doesn't feel forced. It looks like she got in that little doorway and went bing.
This is mine.
And just did it. Yeah, and just owned it.
And you know what else too? It has a very graphic look. Her pose has a graphic look that works within the frame.
Totally does. Yep. And again, if I can just say, the light is really nice in that one, right?
Beautiful.
It's pulling your eye where you want it. It kind of fades off towards the bottom. It's really nice. Well done.
It's got a very nice fall off.
Yep. That's nice, but the light's not as nice. The background isn't as nice. The graphics aren't as nice.
So what would we tell our photographer here?
Just pay real close attention to what's working in your pictures, right? And I think the last one and the first one are the real heroes in this group. Yeah. And I feel like just pay attention to what's working. It's the posing, it's your post is working really well. Yeah,
agreed.
Very nice. I love that.
That's wild.
That is messed
cool.
up.
That is messed up.
It's really intriguing. That's one of the most intriguing pictures I've seen in ages.
Yeah,
but the others are not.
Yeah.
So I think the other pictures look like pictures you think you're supposed to take, and the last picture is your picture. So even though it's a weird old picture, I think it's cool and you should run with it. I don't know what you were thinking or what you were doing or how you did it, and I don't really mind. I don't really care. It's very interesting. It's like a surrealist, bizarro.
Yeah, you could almost make a body of work with
you could do a series with that.
No, you totally could.
I can't. Yeah.
Totally
That's
could.
interesting.
But the first two are like. Like I don't know what you're trying to do with a person. Like unless you're trying to.
Besides over retouching.
Yeah.
Besides over retouching the skin and under retouching the eyes.
The cell phone and.
Yep. And that one's just not, that's not interesting. The next one's not interesting. The third one's just straightforward, but no big deal. No expression, right? Peter Hurley would hate it. I'm going to remember this picture when I go home.
Yeah.
I'm going to have nightmares
It's going to haunt your dreams, yeah.
Exactly. But I will remember. It's memorable. That's great. Pose. 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 Nice. Pose.
Pose.
Right? Do you see the pose thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's pose, 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 pose. That one that's the lovely one of the woman with her eyes closed is just so much more sensitive.
Yeah.
It's such a simple picture. The light's beautiful. It doesn't look like she blinked. Her eyes are closed. She's thinking about something, feeling something. Really well done.
And you know what? As opposed to the other picture that was half lit, you see more of her chin and more detail. There's more to the story.
Yep. And it's beautiful. Like, you don't need to see more than that. It's fine. It's
beautiful.
Just beautifully done. I think that's, the other ones are like, I'm supposed to shoot pictures like this. I saw them in a magazine or something. You know what I mean? They're cheesy to me.
Yeah.
And I think that one picture is far more sophisticated, and you should kind of follow your instincts that led you there.
Nice. This looks like someone who is a Peter Hurley inspired.
Yeah.
I think the difference with these is Peter's pictures, the thing that's really quite interesting about his pictures is they have like a freshness to them that's really nice.
It's a good word for it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
a very good word
like
for it.
Open and fresh and natural. They feel really good. These don't quite have that look. The light just feels a little flat. And he's shooting, or she is shooting from a higher angle in many of these, which is a little awkward, I think.
Yeah.
Do you see it? It's like a higher angle, higher angle, higher
What happened
angle.
to this one though? Like this one looks, although it's on the white background, it doesn't look like it's treated with the same.
It's like the light didn't fire.
Like, one light didn't fire, did the light, yeah.
Yeah, the guy's a stop down. But I think the higher angle isn't working for you. I'd get eye level with these people. I think would be nicer.
Yeah.
And I think your front light's just flat. And I think it's not flat and flattering, it's just flat.
Right. All right, very good. A couple more left, and we're gonna have to call it a day.
All right.
All right, we really just have, I think, 4 images here, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're nice. I think in these kind of pictures, the fewer lights, the better. And I think, like, I don't need to see the back of his shirt lit up. I feel like the light on his face is all I really need there, and it's got a nice expression. Yep. Like, that's kind of really all you need, is that. And the rest of it kind of toned down, doesn't hurt anything. Do you know what I mean? Sort of.
I know what you mean.
It's fine. I'd have him change his shirt.
Yeah.
That's lovely. To me, that's lovely. He's really with you. It's a beautiful expression. The light's really simple. He doesn't have a hair light and a kicker and a fill and a bounce and a key and a this and a that. He's got one light. It's all you need. and he's really with you. Beautiful shot. Beautiful use of the horizontal frame. Really nice.
Yeah.
This one feels a little posier. Like, look at the difference between that one and the last one.
Yeah, it looked
Right,
like he
such a
settled
natural
into that.
gesture.
Like that was his gesture, and the
Very
next one
natural
looks
gesture.
like.
And the other guy's punching himself in the chin.
All right, last one for the day because we've got to get you to the airport.
Okay. Never seen a purple operating room.
Yeah.
That's like Valley of the Gels.
This looks like I'm doing stock photography.
Yeah, it's just not working. It's just funny. It's just a little funny.
Overlit.
Yeah, it's overlit. It's just funny. It's a peculiar picture, right? Like she's standing there with her butt out, and it's a funny picture.
Fixing a Corvette.
This is like a cowboy in a studio. It's hard for me to sink my teeth into it. That's a natural picture, but it's not interesting enough. Same.
It didn't go well for our last photographer of the day.
I think that when this person's using lights, they're doing things that are too formulaic in a way and not being sensitive to the subject. And I think when the person's shooting in natural light, they're not being sensitive to the light and the subject as much. I think this person just needs to shoot a lot more.
Yeah.
They're really. And that's the lens baby thing, and it's funny.
It's a lens baby thing, and it's funny. Yeah. Hey, Gregory, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. That
totally
was
a pleasure.
outstanding.
Thanks.
An honor to have you on the show.
It's an honor to be had.
Just a couple things to wrap up. Of course, we have some giveaways. We want to show you where to go get the giveaways. So let's cruise over to KelbyOne.com/contest. And if you go there, like this, you will see a place to go and choose which show you're watching. You're watching The Grid.
Are we going to tell them how to fill out a form?
Yeah, no. But tell us down there in the comments, it is important to tell us which prize you want to win. So we are giving away my portrait retouching book, my Photoshop book for Lightroom users. So it just teaches you what's the difference between Photoshop and Lightroom.
And then the Photoshop World Pass.
A full conference pass to Photoshop World Atlanta coming up in 12 days.
Don't ask for it if you're not going to go to Atlanta in 12 days, because we're not going to get you there. We're just going to get you into Photoshop World.
Right. All right. Also, we have some new classes that came up on KelbyOne that I just want to mention. They're kind of cool. Oh, here we go.
Jennifer Wu's Shooting Stars
and Milky Ways and Nighttime. So that came up. That's pretty new. Food photography with Nicole Young, Nicolesy. A lot of people are liking this. And Frank Salas, who's a tremendous wedding photographer, did an interview on the business side of the wedding business, and it's very, very good. So if you get a chance to go by, of course, we have some new classes. You're seeing some of the stuff we just put up there for Photoshop CC. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Gregory, thank you again.
Totally
Absolutely
a pleasure.
Wonderful.
It was great being here.
And you did a class for us today, so looking forward to that. And we'll see you guys next week, right here. Oh wait, don't go. Wait, Gregory, where can they go learn more about you?
www.gregoryheisler.com.
Sure.
Would that be good? Where else?
I think that's good. Are you on Facebook?
Is that your website?
I'm on Twitter, but I'm a clown. I don't tweet very well. And I'm not on Facebook.
Twitter.com.
I'm kind of very incognito, but I promise I'll get onto all that stuff by 5:30.
On the flight. All right, on the flight home. All right, go check out his work. It's really wonderful. And if this is your first entree to Greg's work, I know that it won't be your last. You'll be digging this super time. Go get his book. Buy some for friends. Buy from people you don't even know.
It's cheap.
Not really.
It is. The
Is
book,
it?
It's cheap. Yeah, it's like $25.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dang, that's worth. I was thinking this is a $60 book.
No,
dude, that book is really.
Like on Amazon, I think it's $25.
It costs more to treat anal streaks.
Well, that depends. All right. That's look at that. Brad says it's like 50 cents a portrait. Anyway, thank you very much, Greg. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week right here live on The Grid. Take care.
Thank you.